Hey, what'd you do this weekend?
Not much, just went grocery shopping with my mom.
Oh, cool. Did you get anything good?
Yeah, the sample lady offered me some organic milk.
Organic milk? Did it taste or smell or look any different than normal milk?
Tastes like regular milk to me, but my mom thought it tastes different.
Do you think that's because it's organic?
Yeah, I think so. I wonder if other organic products taste different than non-organic.
I don't know. That's a good question. We should ask and see what other people think. Hi, I'm Emma Brandenburg.
And I'm Addie Glassmeyer,
And we are proudly representing the Felicity-Franklin FFA chapter of Ohio. Our project was to see if people can sense the difference between organic and non-organic food samples. When learning our experiment, we learned how to do the scientific method, and these included asking a question, doing research, constructing a hypothesis, conducting an experiment, analyzing and looking at results, forming a conclusion, and communicating our results with other people. We looked around and see what other people had done on our topic and seen that Food Network did a blind taste test on the same exact things, just with fruit. We've seen that Science Notes also did an experiment on this, and they talked about the differences between organic and non-organic foods and talked about what qualifications they have to have in order to be considered that.
Our hypothesis was that if consumers are given organic and non-organic foods, they will not be able to tell a difference based on their observation of smell, taste, texture, color, and visual appearance. We anticipated 75% of people will not be able to tell a difference.
To construct our experiment, we started off by gathering organic and non-organic milk, jam, and cheese. We put these samples into containers and then constructed a questionnaire form to fill out which sample they thought was organic and why. To ensure validity in our experiment, we gathered 38 responses. Our independent variable was a consumer's ability to distinguish between organic and non-organic samples that we had presented.
Our dependent variable was the number of samples correctly identified by participants.
When looking at the results, we found that no one was able to correctly identify which sample was organic and non-organic using their senses.
In the first graph, 47% of participants were able to correctly identify the organic sample of milk, although 21% of people were not even able to tell at all. In the next graph, we asked why people chose the sample that they did, and 53% of people said because it was the taste.
When looking at the next graph, we see that 60% of people were able to tell the difference between the organic and non-organic cheese and were able to correctly identify it. If we look at the next graph, majority of the people said that because they chose that was because of the color of the cheese.
In the fifth graph, only 34% of people were able to correctly identify the organic sample of jam. In the next graph, we asked why people chose the sample that they did, and 63% of people said it was because of taste.
When we asked why, we included 6 different options that they could have chose from on why they chose that organic sample. These included taste, color, texture, smell, sight visual difference, and then one of the options was they couldn't tell at all.
We found that our highest number of correctly identified an organic sample was for cheese and the lowest was jam.
These results mean the scattered results and uneven data means that no one was able to correctly identify which sample was organic.
We found that our collaborators had the same results as we did, as both of our experiments resulted in our participants not being able to identify the organic and non-organic samples correctly.
Some limitations that we faced was that we were only confined to the people in our school district, meaning that we couldn't test people outside of our school. Another challenge that we faced was that most of our responses were from 10 to 15-year-olds, and they probably aren't the primary shoppers in their house, meaning they probably don't get much of a say on what goes on and what groceries get bought. One of our last things that we faced was that majority of our responses were from females, and that could have affected our results.
In conclusion, we found that there was no major sensory difference between organic and non-organic samples. This has great importance to the agricultural industry because it can answer many often asked questions by organic and non-organic consumers.
One of the major benefits that this has to the agricultural community is supply and demand. If people start to choose organic over non-organic, then farmers are going to want to switch their crop over to organic instead of non-organic due to the property of supply and demand.
So now we know that there is no major difference between organic and non-organic samples.
Thank you.